All right, guys, so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your LinkedIn professional profile assignment that we're going to have due here in a couple weeks. And first of all, I want to say that LinkedIn is a growing network, a business and professional network online. I'm sure you've probably all heard of it. If you have a profile already, great. We're going to have some tips and tricks on how to make your profile the best it can be. If you don't have a LinkedIn, this is a great opportunity to create one that you're not only going to use in this class, but you can also use to help you find jobs, help you gather connections in your respective fields, and also even find internships while you're still going to school in college. So again, this LinkedIn professional profile assignment is 50 points. Each student will create or update a LinkedIn professional file. A professional profile will serve as a recruitment tool and assist students in marketing themselves to prospective employers. Students will focus on 5 areas: the summary, contact details, the experience, the education, and your followings. So this video will be right here in our assignment, so you can watch as many times as you want. And then I'm also going to provide a couple of other supplemental videos from people that are very good at LinkedIn, and they offer some unique and different tips that I think will be helpful as well as you start to make your profiles as unique yet still professional to you. So what the first area that we're going to talk about here is your summary and your contact details. So again, there's a couple links here that I encourage you to look at, and then again, those supplementary videos. But basically, we never want to leave our summary section blank. So you want to have a catchy statement there. You can use all that space. So never just limiting to one little phrase. You want to really provide those details to set yourself apart there in that summary section. So there's some great articles here that you can find, and then those videos also offer some really solid information there. So we'll go here really quick. So this is from CareerCast. Let's see if I can move my screen over here, right? So it says, first impressions count, and your LinkedIn summary is the first opportunity a potential employer has to find out who you are beyond your photo and your job title. So you want to make these precious moments count. So remember, we talked about employers look 6 seconds at our resume, and as they're shifting through, as recruiters are shifting through LinkedIn, you know, they're probably wanting something to really catch their attention and make them stay on your profile, right? So tip number 1, we never want to leave that section blank. Tip number 2, you want to use all the space that you can muster. Tip number 3, you want to tell some stories. You want to share your accomplishments, how you handled particular situations, all that good stuff. Tip number 4, you want to break it up. So using white space is really good for the eye, especially in the online format. So you can use headers, subheaders, and graphics. So nobody really likes to read that big block of text. But yeah, we still want to be detailed, tell some stories. We just have to break it up effectively so that it's visually appealing for our audience as well. All right, we'll go back in here to our course. There we go. So again, you have access to these things. You can follow those links and then think about how you can portray yourself the best in that summary. Then in your experience, guys, this provides descriptions of your positions that you've held and the experience that you have. So this is much like the experience that we put into our resume. You're just going to make that visually appealing here on LinkedIn. So position descriptions should provide some details of the positions so users viewing your profile can get a quick idea of what the position involves. Items to consider: the companies you've worked for, the job titles you've held, the location, the time period you worked, description of responsibilities. So again, sounds very similar to what you put into your resume, and you should probably be able to even use some of that phrasing that you have already turned in and gotten feedback on. Education, much of the same. Education descriptions can provide some details about your studies, so users viewing your profile can get a better sense of your background and your experience and your interests, right? So also still finishing up degrees, students can kind of put feelers out there for what you are looking for and what you are interested in terms of your education and in terms of your experience, the job you want, etc. You also want to be able to kind of highlight your extracurricular activities as well. So you can put any clubs you're in, any societies you're in, any sports you've played, all that stuff on your LinkedIn too. Quick note, guys, we want to make sure that we're focusing on our college, our collegiate experience. Again, it's kind of inferred that once you are in college that you have that high school degree. So we're really only focusing on from high school until now, so those more professional activities there. Then, guys, there's a skills section. So these previous sections are worth 10, the summary is worth 20, and then we're down to 5 here. So you want to be sure that you're adding in some skills. You can add up to 50 skills, but we want to make sure that we have at least 5 there. And then people can come in from the industry, people that you've worked with, people that you know that can endorse those skills. So you could have things like public speaking as a skill, you could have things like marketing as a skill, you can have things like branding as a skill, and then also those other industry specific things, maybe technology wise, design wise, anything that you're looking for in your career, that you have those skills, you want to really highlight them, and then you'll start to gather endorsements as your connections grow as well. Followings, guys, we want to make sure that we're also locating 5 followings. Followings can be like the schools you've attended, the companies you've worked for, the companies you're very interested in. It can even be like training or new technologies. So just keywords that you can look for and start to follow those things on LinkedIn. And that helps you build your network, helps other people find you. Anything you can do to separate yourself and start to build that network on LinkedIn, it's great. Okay, I'm also going to talk to you just holistically kind of here about LinkedIn as a whole. So LinkedIn, you want to really make sure that your online bio matches your real world self. So it's oftentimes tempting to want to make ourselves look better online than we really are. And guys, you're good enough as you are. So we want to really make sure that our real life self is portrayed as best as possible in the LinkedIn format. It's the place at which you can get more personal than, say, your resume or your job application. So you can be more authentic, genuine, and really show that true self that you've worked hard to create in college and worked hard to build yourself up into the person that you are. So you're really finding a way to showcase that uniquely. Forbes magazine reported that LinkedIn is the #1 social tool for job hunters and hiring managers, and that was a 2014 study. So you can imagine that that reach has only grown and that recruiters are really, really relying on LinkedIn. So if you don't have a LinkedIn, this is a great opportunity to build your LinkedIn. And again, if you do have a LinkedIn, we're going back and making sure that our LinkedIn is the best that it can possibly be. Another study says viewing LinkedIn profiles has become a normal part of the due diligence process. Prospective clients will make a decision about you and your organization from their online search results. So oftentimes we're turning in that resume and that cover letter, and then in order to get that interview, people are screening us through our online activity, and LinkedIn, I think, is one of those first places people are looking. So we have to couple and make sure that our resume is very reflective on our LinkedIn and that we're adding extra elements to our LinkedIn to support that resume and cover letter. Traditional job boards are facing extinction with social and interactive networking sites like LinkedIn, and they're growing rapidly. So recruiters, headhunters, and employers are increasingly turning to LinkedIn to find that new, unique talent that really fits the mold that they're looking for in that specific job and company. LinkedIn isn't going anywhere, and if you ignore it, neither will you. So that's a quote, another 2014 quote from an author by the name of Dorsey. And again, their quote is, LinkedIn isn't going anywhere, and if you ignore it, neither will you. So you're not going anywhere either if you don't have this LinkedIn. So that just goes to show how much employers are relying on LinkedIn to get to know you a little bit better, even before they meet you face to face. Another little tidbit here, many LinkedIn member profiles and company pages, if you have them, are dormant. And this means that these profiles were usually set up perfunctorily just because people felt they had to be there, and then they are left to gather dust. So some of us, even I've been guilty of this in the past, where you've set up your LinkedIn, you used it for a certain purpose, maybe you landed a job, maybe you landed an internship, and then you don't look at it again until you need something from it. We want to try and get out of that habit where we're managing our LinkedIn just like we would any other social media account and constantly making those connections and growing and using that as a tool. Even if we're happy in our job market, you can always learn things on LinkedIn. There's great articles posted. You can follow certain tidbits that you want to learn more about. For instance, I follow digital marketing because I do a lot of digital marketing for my newspaper job. So you can find great tips and other things, other new technology that's coming out, even just by scrolling through that feed and adding that to your social media regimen. So once you have that LinkedIn, make sure that you're checking it, keeping it up to date, and using that to your advantage. I want to talk about your professional picture here. So that's one of the first things that people notice on your LinkedIn. So you want to make sure you are dressing appropriately, probably business professional in your picture. You want to make sure that it's a really good quality photo and that it's not poorly cropped. So you want to present your professional self as professionally and as a full package as you can in LinkedIn. You also want to make sure that you're using a more current photo and not something that's super out of date. And typically, guys, it's just going to be like your profile. So a profile picture of you. It's not going to be a picture of your family or anything like that. So that straight profile picture is going to be you in a very professional headshot type of setting. Again, guys, I want to hint on that you want to use white space throughout your profile. So anytime you're writing things in, making sure that you're breaking things out in paragraphs or bullet points to make it a little bit more digestible and approachable for people coming to your LinkedIn page. Write a catchy headline and a catchy summary. I do caution you here, we want to make a catchy headline and a catchy summary, but we also want to be sure that we're using those keywords that are relative to the jobs that we are seeking or the field that we want to be employed in. So oftentimes people are too catchy and then you're not coming up in people's searches for those specific things. So finding a way, again, to make yourself very searchable but also very unique, and that's a tough balance. The supplemental videos they provided talks a lot about that as well. A few more tips here on the summary portion that's worth 20 points. An effective summary makes people want to know more about you and ultimately connect with you one-on-one. Your summary is also the first thing they see, so they see your picture and the summary, kind of correlating those two elements together. And you have about 30 seconds to describe yourself in your summary. So we really want to catch attention there and be unique in that aspect. The profile summary should be written with the reader in mind. So what does the reader need to know about you right then and there if they are looking at your profile and seeking you out for a job or even just a connection? Did you tell them enough about yourself in that summary that they are ready to engage with you further? No one cares what you do. They are more interested in what you can do for them. So always keeping that in mind and how you structure the content on your resumes, on your cover letters, and in your LinkedIn profile. What can you do for others, not necessarily what can the job, industry, or field do for you. I find this one interesting, this bit of research. This is by Brady Barth in 2014, and it says, your LinkedIn summary section is similar to an elevator speech. It is one of the first things that a person sees when looking at your profile, and you should use it to get the reader excited about you and your company. Your summary here is kind of acting like your cover letter. It has those strategic keywords about what you're looking for, but it's very unique to you and invites the person to scroll further and see more about your education, your experience, etc. Again, my overall tip here for LinkedIn is to be yourself, really match your personality to your LinkedIn profile. Don't be afraid to be unique, but also maintaining that searchability using those keywords that you're looking for. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. This bottom piece here tells you how you're going to turn in your assignment. So it says once you've finished your profile, please add me to your connections list on LinkedIn. This will allow me to see and grade your profile. To add a connection, click on Advanced, located at the top of the page, and then search for me in the search bar. If you can't find me, let me know. I should be very, very accessible to all of you. And as always, if you have questions, send me an email, pop into office hours, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.